Hi, I'm Mark Jacksina, and welcome to this special edition of Order Fire. Today we're out at Lucky Clay Farms talking to Brad. We're going to find out a little bit about hydroponics, not the kind that you're thinking, and systems control.
Bradley Todd was raised in Aquadale, North Carolina, and spent 5 years in the Marine Corps before receiving a Bachelor of Science degree in Geology and Earth Science from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Bradley joined Lucky Clay's farm in 2010 as the aquaponics farm manager, focused on efficient and sustainable farming, and began managing Lucky Clay's Fresh in 2013. There, he designed, built, and manages a 4,600 square foot commercial and teaching aquaponics facility, as well as a fish hatchery and nursery. Bradley has collaborated with several North Carolina colleges and universities and designed various small systems throughout the surrounding area.
Brad,
Mark!
so tell me about this. This is the new greenhouse.
It is. Yeah, this is our new commercial facility we're working on. So we started at a smaller facility, kind of got everything going, figured out all the science, what we were doing, how to kind of maximize production for intensive vegetative growth. So that's kind of what we're focusing on here is our lettuces and herbs. Growing hybrid striped bass in this system. Soon to come will be rainbow trout and saltwater shrimp.
Wow. So you started with the smaller greenhouse about 6-8 years ago?
Yeah, we went through a couple different phases of smaller systems. Initially it started like a lot of people with aquaponics, hobby, something cool to do. And what we were seeing was a lot of the scientific principles wasn't followed. So we really kind of delved into what was making everything work and kind of built systems based off of our experience operating it. So this is kind of our third evolution in a system. The smaller greenhouse, we recirculate 95% of the water. This system, we're able to bump that up to 100% water.
So you start off with tilapia, right?
Yep.
And there's a stigma with that fish.
There is. Tilapia has been a challenge to a lot of our customers. One being that we don't process our fish. The other one being is tilapia has kind of a negative connotation associated with how they're produced overseas. A lot of that is sound reasoning. They're not cultured how we would like them cultured. So what we've done in our system is they're in pure water. The water our fish swim in, you can literally drink. So there's no of fish eating other species waste, none of that stuff. Perfectly clean, perfectly good, healthy fish.
And then you've moved into the striped bass.
We have.
About how long ago?
So we started growing striped bass, I'm gonna say about 6 months ago, and we got them from a university research facility in Aurora, North Carolina, so that's on the coast. So right now, as far as I know, we're one of the only farms in North Carolina doing an indoor striped bass. So this new system, we're doing striped bass and the sunshine bass, which is a hybridized version of the striped bass.
Have you generated a lot of interest for that fish from the chefs here in the area?
We have. We went around and asked some of our chefs, what type of species they preferred. Obviously, tilapia was not on the top of the list. So we looked into striped bass and everybody seemed real excited about that. And we're also incorporating the rainbow trout in the next system. So that way we can provide fresh fish to markets literally harvested within hours to the restaurant. So I can bring these things flopping up on a table if somebody wants something like that.
Wow. And then the shrimp on top of it, right?
Yeah, so we'll be doing shrimp at the far side of our new facility, and that's called bioflocculation. So what it does, it kind of trades out the ease of mechanical filtration for the understanding of microbiology, so we can culture, really we culture in the water for that biofloc system, and the shrimp is the byproduct of a good cultured water.
So how does a guy who's doing this, who considers himself a farmer and eats bologna sandwiches, basically end up doing all this, which is A, no small feat, and B, not somebody who just eats bologna sandwiches?
That's, hell if I know. My background is I grew up in this area working on hog farms and chicken farms, left for the Marines, spent several years overseas bouncing around, started really getting a interest in this. I've been reading Mother Earth News and Foxfire books since I was knee high, and started seeing like, this is some cool shit. Like, why can't I learn how to do this stuff? So started researching it, And it slowly just kind of evolved. One thing we were constantly seeing, getting phone calls about, was these small systems that worked for 6 months and then went down, or they would have a small system and say, I want to make money doing this, and they would start adding on components without looking at the overall picture. So everything gets out of balance and then the system don't work. So we started really doing the math, looking into it a little more than what we initially had planned on doing in the beginning. That's kind of the difference between our two systems. Our small system is the single owner operator mom and pop system, one person 40 hours a week, 4,600 square foot. We put out about 600 to 700 heads of lettuce every week, year round. And then you jump over here to this scale, 43,000 square foot. Once everything's up into full production, we're doing 18,000 heads a week. So we definitely have to generate an income to be able to do this, and that's the kind of two mediums we've found from our experiences, one end or the other.
You also do some leather tooling.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you don't do? Do you sing opera?
Sleep.
Oh.
Yeah, opera, yeah. My falsetto, I went through that whole, no, I was just kidding. I played a banjo, that's about the limit on all that.
How long have you been playing the banjo?
I don't know, since I was little.
Really?
Just,
So you're good?
I don't think I'm good.
That usually means they're pretty good. It's always one of them, now I'm no good, and they blow your mind. So what's the end all be all goal here for you and also for the farm?
Take over the world mainly. But until that point, you know, we're excited about what we're doing, and really for us, you know, we don't sell systems, we don't install systems. We just want to provide the knowledge. 59 years old in North Carolina is the average age for a farmer. There's a lot of opportunity. A lot of guys, for me, my generation, I would never be able to do terrestrial type agriculture because I wouldn't have the capital to buy 100 acres of farmland and all these expensive equipment to do large scale farming. This opens up the opportunity for intensive cultivation at a fraction of the cost with a lot more output per square foot, per acre. So I'm super passionate about sharing this to where in 10, 15 years, this is a viable, common form of agriculture.
I mean, it seems more common now in the last maybe 5 years that this this has become not only accepted but sort of sought out.
Right.
Because I mean, you know, when I first heard about what you were doing and a couple other guys that were working with hydroponics, I mean, you know, most people think weed.
Oh yeah, growing good
You
pot,
know,
right.
Exactly. So like I was going to ask you earlier when you first said them, like how many calls do you get like out of Colorado looking for systems, you know?
More than I'll say on camera.
But I mean, if you take a look at it, right, so the footprint for this, for what you're growing here would require 2 acres, 3 acres, 4 acres?
It would, you know, it would be, that's a number that I haven't personally worked up, but one I will do right after this interview because that's a perfect way to show the difference in production. So like for us, this is some red leaf lettuce and some spring mix, and what we do is we grow these plants 6 inches apart. So you can imagine your home garden, your outdoor production, you would be able to do 1 row of this, but then you would have 2 feet or so in between there to be able to get to the next plant to harvest.
Right.
Not only that, but the way we do it is we have 6 to 8 weeks worth of plants growing at any one time. So for us, we literally pick up 1 raft with 64 heads of lettuce and harvest that whole thing. Next week, 64 more. So it's just an ongoing process. It really lets us be able to put out a consistent product every single week, year round. We don't use any supplemental light in here. We just use the sunlight, you know, nature, Mother Earth's provided for us.
I think there's a misconception or some that something like this is fail safe.
Right.
You know, like this is farming light, or this is farming with a helmet on, you know, training wheels and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's very real, and you're out here in the country.
Yep.
So you guys get inclement weather and have power issues fairly regular.
Without a doubt. And that's a perfect example. We get phone calls and people want to, you know, you got venture capitalists, people like that want to do these huge aquaponics systems. And to them, all you do is flip on a switch and walk away.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be farther from the truth. It's still agriculture. Shit happens, and shit happens all the time. What's funny is it never happens at like Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like midnight on Saturday when everybody's half drunk, the system fails, you know, and it just fucks it up for everything. So the sun don't shine, these plants don't grow. If there's an issue with the fish, it directly affects the vegetables and vice versa. So doing aquaponics, that's kind of, it's a natural way of checks and balances. So we can't do anything to the fish that would affect the plants and vice versa. So we really try to look at the health of the water, the health of the whole system, to try to negate some of them other problems that may come along type deal.
Gotcha. If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? In a perfect world, like if somebody just said, hey, Brad, you can do whatever you want, what would it be?
Probably in the most isolated forest I could find, right smack dab in the middle.
Is that a reaction to where we're at now, or is that an all-time kind of thing?
No, I don't know.
You're like, this interview sucks, I need to go.
Yeah, goddamn,
Put me in the
what
middle
time
of a forest
No,
over there.
I don't know, man. I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy, like me and you've talked about, like with your pottery and like leather work, woodwork. I enjoy craftsmanship type stuff. So, you know, that's part of the stuff. Me and the guys that help me, I have a great crew of guys and girls that really make all this happen behind the scenes. And, you know, everybody is craftsman minded type deal. You know, that's their, I think anything along that craftsman type path would be something, whichever one I woke up and felt the need to do that day would
Right.
be what I,
Spoken like a true Renaissance man.
I don't know about all that, but
I do. We'll leave it at that. Brad,
thanks,
man.
Mark. You're the
You
man.
got it.